Okay, to begin with, I'm going to go ahead and start. No, I'm not going to start.
Okay.
I'm going to let Nelson start. Nelson Alcantara, he is the editor from eTurbo News. We work very closely with eTurbo News, and if you're not waking up to your eTurbo News in your email, you're missing something, because these folks put things in this email, news of travel, that you will not see anywhere else in the world in any other publication. Our hats are off to eTurbo News. And Nelson, I'm glad you're back from Zimbabwe.
Glad to be here. First off, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My thanks to IIPT for the invitation. eTurbo News has been an ardent supporter of Lewis's work throughout the years, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to take part in this discussion. I was given 5 minutes, so I wanted to be precise with what I wanted to talk about. So, oftentimes, conferences talk about facts and figures and theories. I will try to use my experience in the news world to be as specific as I can in order to help you. The role of the media in any given circumstance is to be the gatekeeper of information, to keep the public informed. These days, this can be done instantaneously through the World Wide Web. In bridging the North and South divide, the media acts as the third-party neutral to make certain that the information being disseminated is fair, balanced, and objective. To do this, it has been my practice that providing a dynamic forum is paramount to getting everyone involved. Let the readers and the audience take part in this story. Facilitate an interactive dialogue among everyone. In approaching a story, or in this conference's case, perhaps a case for sustainable development, it is important that, from our standpoint as the media, we acknowledge that there isn't a generic model that works for everyone. That the word sustainable development means it's destination specific, that the needs and the requirements for each destination is different from one another. This is part of a process called framing the situation. In the media, we call it finding an angle to the story. Say I have amassed information from my background work and information gathering. What then do I do as a journalist with this information? This question is paramount because it could impact the outcome of the situation greatly. Why destination specific? Zimbabwe, for instance, has the tourism infrastructure that is the envy of most African destinations, and yet because of the ongoing political climate, the crisis, tourism is suffering greatly. The media then needs to ask itself, do we have all the facts we need to look at the situation correctly? Then we go out and seek the information we need. Sometimes, in cases like Zimbabwe, access to information is very difficult. Even getting to the government is difficult. Because of the political climate, it is almost impossible to get anyone to talk. What does a good reporter do then? A few things. For the government, it is easy to gauge what they are thinking by reading their propaganda. Access to this is easy. For instance, in Zimbabwe, there is a newspaper, state-run newspaper called The Herald. This becomes their position and issue if you can't get to that. The tougher part is getting civilians to talk, because two things come into play: rapport and luck. Rapport in that you need to be able to gain their trust, so that they will want to talk to you. And in my case, a crafty reporter can find ways to do this. There isn't one generic rule that can be applied. Luck. Being at the right place at the right time. In the news world, this is what it all boils down to. In my case with Zimbabwe, a string of happenstances worked towards my favor, and as a result, I was able to get the information that I needed from the right people. In one case, I was in a dire need to retrieve money from Western Union, and walking around Victoria Falls and finding a bank that would help me retrieve that money was quite an adventure. But just by sheer luck, I bumped into a guy who had name tag that had the hotel I was staying at. He not only took me around Victoria Falls, he also became instrumental in my information and gathering process. I didn't know it at the time, but this person turned out to be the general manager of the hotel. So from his perspective, I got to look at the situation in Zimbabwe through his eyes. That's pretty much it. And a few more things I wanted to add. Ultimately, my message is this. Destinations need to make certain that they are sending their case for sustainable development out. There are ways to do this. Choose a medium that works for you, be it online, print, radio, or television. But more importantly, seek out media outlets that are receptive to your message. As I mentioned earlier, we've been supporting IIPT, Luis's work through the years, and in our capacity as the media outlet to help spread his message. But my take on the theme is to keep as a journalist, to keep the dialogue open, keep everyone talking, engage the readers and the audience, and for destinations, present your case to the media. Give us something we can work with, so we can share it with our audience. Thank you.
And you're going to have a chance to talk to Nelson after we're completely done with the panel, and we'll get him involved a little bit more. Next, we have Her Excellency Natimbo Nandi Natawa from Namibia. So thank you so much for joining us on the panel.
Thank you very much, moderator. Thank you, other panelists. As you rightly said at the beginning, that we are going to speak to media practitioner, except Netumbo, who's not a media practitioner. And you know, when you talk, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. I happen to mention that my former portfolio was a Minister of Information and Broadcasting, and I think that's what sensitized some people to ask me to be in this panel. So I will do so with that background as a former Minister of Information and Broadcasting in my country, Namibia.